In this video I am telling you the amazing facts about Canada you may not know. Canada is a huge country on the North American continent. The country is divided into 10 provinces and 3 territories and is home to about 38 million people in 2021. Canada is the largest country in the Western Hemisphere and the second largest country in the world after Russia, and borders only one country, the United States of America. Canada has the longest coastline in the world with 202,080 kilometers and 125,567 miles. Canada has a varied landscape, majestic mountains, rolling plains, forested valleys, and beautiful blue rivers and lakes. The Canadian Shield, a hilly region of lakes and swamps, stretches across northern Canada and has some of the oldest rocks on Earth. In Canada's far north lies the frozen Arctic. Here, ice, snow, and glaciers dominate the landscape. Despite the cold, harsh climate, Native Canadians, called First Nations people, live in this region, where they hunt and fish for food. In Churchill, Manitoba, nobody locks their doors. In the far north town of Churchill, Manitoba, nobody locks the doors to their house or cars in case of a polar bear attack. Churchill is located in the center of Polar Bear Alley, and polar bears walk freely through the town towards Hudson Bay. They have learned to live with the mighty polar bear. Churchill is the polar bear capital of the world. Speaking of Hudson Bay, the area around Churchill, Manitoba has less gravity than the rest of the world. Canada is that it can get pretty cold in the winter. The average low for January in Ottawa is -14.4 C. That's pretty cold. However, a temperature recorded in 1947 in Snag, Yukon makes the rest of Canada's winter weather seem like a relaxing beach vacation. A temperature of -63 C was recorded in the small village of Snag on February 3, 1947. That's roughly the same temperature as the surface of Mars. Canada's remote north and extensive forests are home to lots of wonderful wildlife, from bears, wolves, deer, mountain lions, beavers, and bighorn sheep, to smaller animals such as raccoons, otters, and rabbits. The country's lakes and rivers contain about 20% of all fresh water on Earth, are full of fish such as trout and salmon. Canada's prairies, open grasslands, in the south are home to American buffalo and pronghorn antelope. And in the sprawling evergreen forests of northern Canada, moose and black bears are among the amazing animals that can be found. Even farther north, herds of reindeer and muskox roam the cold, bare tundra. Canada has a lot of great things in abundance, like hockey players, parkas, and Tim Hortons franchises. But one of the most fascinating facts about Canada is that we also have more surface area covered by lakes than any other country in the world. It's true. The Great White North has 563 lakes larger than 100 square kilometers. The Great Lakes alone contain about 18% of the world's fresh lake water. That's a lot of water, and a lot of gorgeous scenery. The Canadian Shield forms a U-shape extending from Lake Superior in the south to the Arctic Islands in the north, and from the western part of Canada eastward to Greenland. It is where some of the oldest rocks on Earth can be found. Among them, is a 4.28 billion-year-old rock that was discovered by geologists in 2001. It was found in an area of exposed bedrock on the eastern shore of the Hudson Bay in northern Quebec. Canada is many nations in one. Descendants of British and French immigrants make up about half the population. They were followed by other European and Asian immigrants. First Nations peoples make up about 4% of the population. Inuit people live mostly in the Northwest Territories and Nunavut. Many Native Canadians live on their traditional lands, but many others have moved to cities across Canada. The largest source of freshwater in the world. With its millions of lakes and rivers, it's not surprising that Canada has earned this title. For instance, the estuary and the Gulf of St. Lawrence are one of the largest and deepest estuaries in the world. Its water comes from the Great Lakes, or the Laurentian Great Lakes, a series of interconnected freshwater lakes in the upper Mideast region of North America. It mixes with salt oceanic water as it widens into a large estuary, a water passage where the tide meets a river current, near Isle d'Orléans. The population of Canada is 37.06 million people. While Canada is the second largest country in the world with a total land area of 2 million square kilometre. But much of the land is uninhabited and Canada has the fourth lowest population density on Earth with 3.7 people per square kilometre. Most people in Canada live within 200 kilometers of the border of the United States. And most of the population lives in urban centers like Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, and Calgary.